Me, Shannon B. Shemaine, Mr. Everything. And you are now tuned in to Morality Check. All right. Well, hey, everyone. Hope everyone is having a great evening and a great week so far. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. I am the one and only Shannon Brooks, aka Shannon B. Go ahead and pass it on over there to you, Shemaine, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, and my name is Shemaine Melton, aka the Renaissance Man.
All right. I didn't want to. He was freezing and I didn't want to cut you off. Were you good? Okay. All right. So tonight's topic is going to be a very good one. Okay. And the topic is pride, the good versus the bad. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I guess I can go ahead and just kind of, just weigh in about it. And then Shemaine, if you want to, go right afterwards, we can, just kind of get some dialogue going here. One thing I'll say about pride is this: I think we all have it. You know, it's needed out here. You want to be able to feel good about, yourself, that pride that you have within yourself, whether it's your a business, your family, personal, just whatever it is. It's good to have it. I believe that it can work for you and it could also work against you. For me, I think I can speak for myself. I do take pride in myself. I take pride in my business. I take pride in anything that I put, my, hands on or hands with or whatever. I believe in, having that pride, for it or whatever. But at the same time, sometimes even when you have that pride where, you can stand on your own 2 feet, you don't want to have to ask for help. You want to make sure everything is on the up and up and everything is all good. Once again, business wise, I got pride. I take pride in it. I take pride in the fact that I'm a small business owner and it's me, myself, and I take pride in the fact that, I feel like I'm a good mother. I feel like I'm a good wife. I feel like I'm a good friend. I don't like asking anybody for anything. Why? That's my pride. But the bad part about it is, for me, is because I have so much pride, a lot of times when I do need help, I don't seek it. If I'm having, some kind of issue, I might be like during payday on Friday. My son just got me on Monday for the last $20, but my pride won't let me go and ask somebody else for it. I won't even go ask my husband. I'll be like, I'll just try to figure out something until I can make it to that Friday. Should I be that way? No. But what, makes me that way is my pride. So for me, I feel like, yes, pride is a good thing and it works in your favor, but at the same time, it can also work against you, especially if you're somebody that doesn't like asking, anybody for anything, tries to handle business, on your own. You're trying to go out here and make it do what it do, the best way you can. And then on top of that, I think sometimes that, sometimes people can hurt your pride. Like you may go and try to ask somebody, for help or whatever. And then when they shoot you down, it's like now your pride is hurt. So that's just my 2 cents. So I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna let Shemaine take it and see what he got to say.
Yeah, for me, pride is a very interesting concept. It's the gift and the curse. Um, with myself being a man, you have two types of men. Well, you have multiple types of men, but I'm gonna speak on two different types of men. Some men don't mind asking. Some people are dependent on others. Some people have issues being codependent on each other. And then you have the type of man like myself that feels like, hey, my daddy taught me how to be a man a different way. Suffer today for tomorrow's greatness. If you don't have it, go get it. You know, and that's always been my thing whenever it comes down to pride. I've got what we call in my family melting pride. My grandfather was homeless and would never ask anybody for anything. He would never acknowledge the fact that he was homeless, but we all knew he was homeless. And so, make a long story short, I'm that same type of person. I can be hurting on the inside, or I could be lacking financially, or I need some finance to get a deal done, or, anything. And I'm not going to ask, and that's just the type of person that I am. Perfect example, a couple weekends ago, my car got towed from downtown Raleigh. At 3:00 in the morning, I'm sitting there already upset at everybody in the whole world, mad at the tow truck man, mad at everybody. And I made one phone call. As a matter of fact, I made a text. They didn't receive it. I got my feet walking. So I walked from downtown Raleigh to Cary. And this ain't the first time that I've done that. That was 25,000 steps at 3 a.m. That was that pride. I didn't want to call somebody and wake someone out their bed to say, hey, I ain't got no money on me. Can somebody come scoop me up? And once again, when it comes down to this type of man, I feel like I got myself into that problem. I should be able to get myself out. And because I couldn't get myself out, I got to suffer now. And it's a learning experience. So when I look at pride, it definitely can be a good thing because it can teach you to unlock some things within yourself. And also, whenever I look at pride, I also can look at it as a bad thing because you get lost within the process and you forget who is there for you, who really genuinely cares about you. And that's just my take on it. So definitely there is a good and there's definitely a bad when it comes down to pride. I know one thing about myself. I've grown a lot over the years and I've realized some of the things that stunt my lifestyle, and pride is number one. I've never had, of course, you being a financial person, you understand the concept of having good credit and bad credit. I have no credit. Everything that I've ever paid for, everything that I've ever bought, I've bought it with cash. If I didn't have the money, I just didn't get it. And now that I'm in my 40s, of course, I'm suffering. When I say I'm suffering, I'm stuck with having to pay rental fees and, high interest rates and stuff like that if I want something in particular. And now I look back at it and say, you know what? I should have changed things a long time ago. So that's my take as far as pride. And I think it's going to be a pretty awesome topic. It's just all about how you take it.
That's very true. Well, actually, we have Mr. Everything, who is, getting ready to come to the stage and grace us with his presence and all that other great stuff and all that. Yeah, there he is. There is Mr. Everything. So yes, Mr. Everything, we want you to go ahead and chime on in. We're kind of just talking about, pride and the good versus the bad and just your take on it. If you have any experiences, anything, any kind of tip, whatever, floor is yours.
All right, so let's start from the beginning, right? Good versus bad. It's always been there from the beginning. You can't have one without the other. You can't have a right hand without a left hand because how do you know if which one is left and right? Good and bad. How do you know which one is good? How do you know which one is bad without having one or the other? Pride can be a good thing or a bad thing. You have pride. You have pride in what you do and how you carry yourself. You have pride in your children and how they're raised. You have pride in your job and your work ethic. But too much pride can make you look as though as you're cocky or you have a sense of entitlement, or you want everybody to praise you based on your pride. Pride can bring you down. Pride can bring you up. It all depends on how you perceive yourself and how you put yourself out there in terms of that. So that is my take on that in a nutshell.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. I like that. I like that. One thing I would say, just I guess kind of give like I guess another look, I guess view on it. Sometimes I think when it come down to black people, like yeah, everything you tied, you kind of hit like that. I guess that little point where you said that a lot, people may look at you like, I don't know, like I ain't gonna say arrogant or whatever, but it's almost like with black people, it's like when you have a sense of pride about yourself, it's not a thing of where it's arrogance. It's not a thing of where you think you're better than anybody. It's just the thing of being able to say, you know what, I take pride in whatever it is. I take pride in my appearance. I take pride in the work that I do. I take pride in my work ethic. I take pride in my yard. I take pride in my car. I take pride in just whatever. But a lot of times it seems like sometimes, not all black people, but some black folk, is like whenever they see you doing that, they mistake, your confidence or your pride with being, like arrogant or being cocky. And I don't know if you all have ever kind of experienced that, but I know I have, where, my thing is, I tell people all the time, I may not have much, but I take pride in everything that I have because I grind for everything that I have. Nothing was given to me. Everything I have is because of the fact that me and my husband, I should say, we went out here and we grinded together. So we take pride in our home. We take pride in our vehicles. But it's like, then, it's always that one little ninja that be like, oh, you think you all that? I'm like, oh, because I take pride in my stuff, now I'm all that? Like, are you serious? And that's why I say a lot of times I think, it's almost like if you're struggling and you don't have pride in anything, oh, you good then. Like, long as you struggling, long as you're doing bad, long as you look like you've been rode hard and hung up wet, the world, black folk, they love you. But when it come down to you having pride about something, oh, now you think you all that. Oh, now she this, now he that, or now you don't want to be bothered with somebody or whatever. I don't know if y'all ever experienced that, or maybe it's just me and the ninjas here in Winston-Salem. I don't know. But I just know sometimes that just kind of like, it comes from different people, like, dang, like I'm just taking pride in the fact I work hard. Didn't nobody give me nothing. I got where I am, because of hard work, and not because I don't live in the hood no more. And I love the hood, don't get me wrong, I'm from the hood. But because me and my husband was able to elevate outside the hood, then it's like some people like, oh, you don't live in the hood no more. Oh, now you all that. No, we just take pride in what we have and we want it better. Maybe it's just me. Y'all can go ahead and, and chime in if you want or whatever. But that's just my perception sometimes.
Yeah, well, with me, pride, when I think about like some of the things that like in my right now in my life, I can speak on experiences right now. I'm not gonna say any names, but it's a particular person that I'm dealing with. They're in a financial situation, and I've known this person for a long time, so I know their financial situation. But to hear them tell it, oh, they got it going on, and so once again, it's that pride. So if you can imagine having problems in your life and someone can help you with those problems, but yet you're so arrogant to the point where you don't want nobody to know that you got those problems, you lying to yourself. You also blocking your blessings. And the situation at hand, if this person is blocking their blessings, they're not going to be able to get no help when they truly need it. You know why? It's because they've always put it out there like they got it going on. So when I look at pride, I'm one of the people, I'm about like yourself. I will call it straight out. I call a spade a spade. I'm going to be like, look, bro, you broke. We all broke. It's okay. Face it. Stop lying to people, because once again, when you need somebody to hold your hand, you ain't got nobody. And that's one of the things that I laugh at when it comes down to people unlearning themselves. And when I say that, I'm meaning when you lose yourself and you have no idea who you are anymore because you've lied to yourself so long. And I just know that that's one of the things that I think a lot of people struggle with, especially us. Black people love to put themselves out there like we got it. even if we don't got it, we got to look like we got it. You see what I'm saying? And so once again, that's the same concept. If you don't have it, just say you don't have it. And that pride will destroy your ego, so to speak, if you won't let it. So I think that one thing that I do know about people is eventually that pride will consume them. And they'll start truthful, but won't nobody believe you at that time in time. So it's kind of like the conversation we had last week. People will really lose themselves within their own conversations. So.
And just to follow up with that, I think the biggest thing that we need to take from this is perception. The perception of things, how people perceive us and how we perceive ourselves. Like Shemaine said, people come out and they say, yeah, I'm this and I'm that, and they really don't have it. They're trying to give the perception that they've made it or they're successful in some kind of way because maybe it's because of their environment. Maybe they're trying to impress somebody, or maybe it's because of where they came from and where they've been able to survive. I grew up in the projects of Brownsville. I don't go around saying I'm successful because I've been on TV and things like that and whatever. You can see that. I don't need to broadcast it or give a perception of who I am and what I've done. You can pretty much see it. It's perception of things. And on the other accord is how the people look at you, how they feel as though, this person think they're all that because they've done this or they've done that and I haven't. I'm still slumming it. I'm just still doing this, and it becomes a jealousy thing, and that's where the good and the bad comes into play, and ultimately it's the perception of where they're at, where you're at, how they see you, and how they see themselves.
Definitely feel you on all of that. That right there was some good stuff. That felt like, I ain't got a mic, but I'm just gonna drop my pen. How they say drop the mic. I'm just gonna drop my pen on that. But and also I guess the thing is, once again going back to, looking at yourself with it or whatever, I guess, sometimes I can only like to speak from, my perspective of things or whatever, what I, look at and see. But I said sometimes it's also, I think, going back to our people, I think sometimes it's like sometimes you can have that good sense of pride, like, you feeling good and everything is good. But, that's the thing though. Sometimes, I guess like when you find yourself in a bind or anything like that, it's like, to me, it's like we can help each other with our pride, making it good. But at the same time, we can also make people feel bad about it. And when I say that, it's like, let's say I give an example. Let's say I'm short $200-300 for my rent, my mortgage, whatever the case may be. But I still got that pride about myself. Meaning that, I'm doing everything I can. I just fall short. But a lot of times, seem like when we go to ask somebody or whatever, or ask somebody for help, it's like sometimes they can just shoot you down so bad, and they can make you feel so bad that what pride you did have about yourself or what you felt for yourself or whatever is now just gone. And and so and I get it, like, we're nobody's responsibility. We got to be accountable. We got to be responsible. But there's times though that just life happens. As I say, shit happens. But the thing is, I think sometimes that we can go from having that good pride about ourselves, but at the same time, we as a people can, tear a person down or whatever. And now that person's pride is gone. Now they don't feel, worthy. They don't feel like they have anything to offer. And now all of a sudden, sometimes people I feel like they can go from having a good pride about themselves to where now somebody done tore them down. Now they don't feel so good. That pride now has made them, it's bad. And now, they lost their mojo. And I mean, and now don't get me wrong. I mean, I know, once again, it's not about anybody else's job to take care of. It's not about anybody else's job to do this and that. But I think sometimes that people's pride can be hurt so bad because they're in a situation where they genuinely need help. They're not out here looking for a handout. They're just looking for a help up. But so many people would just, it's like, you is sometimes, what's that song? I think it was in the movie, the Fighting Temptations. I went to bed and I was on top of the world and I woke up, feel like the world was on top of me. or whatever. It's like that's what I feel like sometimes we can do as people. So you can go from having like, yeah, I feel good, I'm gonna pop my collar and everything else. One person can just come along and ruin it for you, and now feel like you ain't worth shit. But just me. Y'all want to chime in, or if not, we can. There's a question, we can go ahead to the question, but I don't want to cut anybody off. I want everybody to be able to say they part in all this. All right, everybody good? I don't want to cut anybody. All right. So let's see here. So this is the question, or let's see. Today's pride is perceived as arrogance. What do you believe changed in the last 40 years in the way pride is being taught? Oh my God. Like, let me see. And maybe I was born in 76. And I'm just going by some of the things that my father, God rest his soul, and my mother taught me. They were born in the late 40s, 49 actually. I think that a lot of times back then, from how they talked about it, everybody took pride. Everybody had pride in what they had. They may not have had a whole lot, but they still had pride in it. It's like what we look at now, like, oh my God, I can't believe they live like this, that. But guess what? That might have been all they had, but they took pride in it. And we took pride, we were proud of each other. We took pride in our race. We took pride in where we were trying to go. We took pride in the fact that, you know what? I may not have such and such, but my child's gonna have it. So I'm gonna put that in my child. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. So we were building each other up back then. We were really truly building each other up. We had, businesses, we had families, we had functioning, families together or whatever. But to me, and I could be wrong, I feel like when that thing called integration hit and all of us dispersed and everybody went on their own separate ways or whatever, that's when our pride, I feel like, went down like this. And so now we're not taught about being, prideful. It's more like, the have and the have nots sometimes. And if you feel like, you made it out of a have not situation and you are now in a have situation, it's like you can't even go out here and be, you can't go out here and just say, I'm, guess what, y'all, I made it. I did this, I did that, or whatever. Because now somebody gonna be like, oh, you think you all that, or all this and that, or you arrogant about it, or now you this or that. But back in the day, when one made it, everybody was happy. Everybody had pride. Everybody's pride. Like my dad, like that song, "Say It Loud." Was it "Say It Loud"? I'm black and I'm proud. I had pride. We had that black pride. But I don't know. Like I said, integration. I was born in 76. By the time I got here, I was going to school and being around, as I call them, white donuts. I don't know anything else in life but that. But according to my dad and my, grandparents and my mom and everybody lived back in the day, pride is all we had. And I feel like that's why we were able to survive and do the things we did back then. Just about 2 cents. Anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, pride turns you into a superhero. When you have a whole lot of pride in yourself, in your situation, and in your life, it turns you into a superhero. And I think that people, once they convert over to being that superhero, there's no way to turn back from it, And I think that can be the good thing, and that can also be the bad thing. I want to ask the question, like, what have you learned from pride, the good version and the bad version? I love talking about certain experiences because I feel like I've done a whole lot in my life before. And I'll tell you this, my dad once, I wanted a car from him, and he taught me that I have to work for that car. I could not understand why my father would not get me this car. He's got money, he's got cars already, I want that one. And he said no. And so as an adult, I had to learn that the reason why he didn't want me to is because he wanted me to learn from it, and say, I got to work to get this, right? And so by doing so, I had to realize that I can't be upset at anybody about my situation. So now I hold that pride, that same thing, that pride. I'm not going to ask you for nothing. I never asked nobody for nothing since then. I'm serious. And that's because I had to learn something so simple, but it meant so much to learn what really pride was all about. So now I have so much pride with my life, my situation, my finance. No matter what way it is, I'm gonna handle it by any means. And it taught me a lot as a man, and I appreciate that that lesson, that lifelong lesson.
And for me, I'm gonna break it down to two things: accessibility and togetherness. We have access to so many different things that we feel as though we don't have to work for anything anymore. And there's no pride in that. You know, we don't have to really go out there and slum for it. We don't have to chase anything. It's all accessible. It's the internet, it's social media, it's the things that we can just pick up our phone, type it, send it, and you got it. Look at the lottery. You can go out there and pay $6, $5, $2, win the lottery, become a billionaire in the next day. It's the accessibility, and then there's the togetherness. Nobody wants to work together. I think and I may be wrong in saying this, but the strongest race out there right now is the Hispanic race. They're ones that can get together, purchase a bus, pick each other up every weekend, and go to Walmart and go and shop and go right back to their household. They can collectively come together, run one household with 7 incomes, and have enough to go do whatever they want to do and send money back to their home country or their hometown or wherever they came from. It's the togetherness. Nobody wants to work together. Everybody is so worried about, well, he's going to have one cent more than me. Why does he get to have 1 cent more than me? It was his idea. Well, I would have thought of it, but you didn't. It's the accessibility and the togetherness. Nobody wants to work together, and everybody feels as though they don't have to do anything because they can access it right there. That's my take.
I said that is, like I said, hitting them nuggets. Gotta drop the mic. Let me see here. So what's the next question here? Do you believe that struggle is required to build pride? For me, I would say, I feel like this. If everything was being given to you easily, you wouldn't appreciate it. I have had to struggle in my life, to get the things that I want, get the things that I needed. Just I mean, even when it came down to, me and my husband purchasing the house we in now, this was a struggle. Trying to save, trying to, still go out here and live. Got a son that we were trying to get through high school when, he goes to college. And we bought this house in December 2019. My son went into college early, January 2020. All that was a struggle. But guess what? It made me who I am. So I feel like this, a lot of times that struggle will definitely make you who you are. And it also should humble you. Like, I'm a very humble kind of person. I don't take anything for granted at all, period. So yes, for me, I do believe that sometimes a struggle, will help you or be a requirement to build that pride. Because once again, I have where my pride level is not because I'm arrogant. It's not because I'm cocky. It's just because I know where I have come from. I know what I did. And yeah, I'm very, I'm proud. I have to say I'm proud of myself because, coming from a single parent home where, it's just me and my mom and watching my mom, work 2 jobs. And, I went to high school, I went to college, it wasn't easy. It took me, a lot longer to, to finish or whatever, because I had to find myself. But, the thing is that I finished and, I struggled through college, but I would say it was worth the hassle for my tassel. So I'm an Aggie. Everybody know what we always say, Aggie pride. I have Aggie pride till the day I die. And my Aggie pride is because I remember the struggle I had to go through while I was there. I tell people, you see the glory, but you don't see the pain behind the story. So I feel like a lot of times, yes, that struggle, it builds you, it builds your character. And if it ain't gonna, break you, it's going to make you. But I feel like for me, my pride is the fact that all the struggles that I had to go through, and I came through them. I didn't stop. I came through them, and I was able to meet, you know, what I needed or whatever that I had for me, or as I say, what God has for me through that struggle on the other side. So on the other side of through, yeah. So that's why I say for me, I believe that a good struggle is a good requirement to help you to build the pride, not arrogance, just pride. Either one of you all want to speak on it?
Yeah, I just go ahead and go in order. Mine's simple. There's teaching in the struggle. There's learning in the struggle. It's not required, but it's a very important part of that process. So in order to go through the learning process, that struggle is real. And so I'd have to agree that there is that the struggle is actually required. It definitely is. That's what builds you into who you are and what you want to become.
I struggle with the word struggle mainly because it's so broad. You get what I'm saying? Like, how do you define struggle? Everyone struggles with something. Is it struggle monetarily? Is it struggle mentally, physically, emotionally? Or is it struggle based on what you feel like is morally right? Right? Because this is a morality check. So let's dig into morale. Morally, we should not have any pride because it makes us look arrogant, right? It makes us look like we think we're better than someone else. But in depth of it, pride is what makes us. Pride is what builds us. You know, it's what drives us to be able to keep what we have. A lot of us came from nothing. So it's the pride in which when we get to a certain status and we say, you know what? I did that. And I'm here now and I don't want to go back to where I came from. I know where I came from, but I don't want to go back there. I worked hard to get where I'm at. Just like Miss Shannon B says, a lot of people look at her and say, oh, she thinks she's better than everybody because now she's in a certain status or she's in a certain place. But you work hard for that. And that should be commendable. It shouldn't be looked at as, oh, you're full of pride or you think you're better than me. It's more so as, yo, congratulations. You did that. You did that. And now I want to know how I can do that. I want to know what it would take for me to drive me to be able to do the same thing that you did. And let me get there and let me feel that same pride, that same proudness. Let me be able to pass that on to my kids. There's so many families out there that grow up with this chain of events where we continuously circle and circle and circle and circle the same thing, the same struggle, the same God, I mean, we got to stop the cycle. We have to. So in order to stop the cycle, we got to have pride in what we do. We got to have pride in how we raise our families and what we do for our kids and how we bring them up, because we were either brought up a certain way or wasn't brought up at all. And now we have to break that cycle. Now we have to tell our kids, this is how you need to do this. And we have to show them, this is how we do this. And you have to do it yourself in order for them to understand. Because if we don't, it's just going to be a continuous cycle.
And once again, I dropped the pen. I'm acting like I got a mic. I just got to drop it. Mr. Everything, you just giving us everything. Look at it. Look at it. Just got to keep dropping. Just got to keep dropping. So let's see. This is getting good. So what's this one right here? See, in the movement of breaking generational curses and the goal being to build generational wealth in all hopes, everyone won't be born into the struggle. How do we teach a generation of wealthy kids pride? Let me see here. Let me read this again. Let's see here, because sometimes I got to go back and do it twice. Let's see. In the movement of breaking generational curses and the goal being to build generational wealth in all hopes, everyone will be born into the struggle. How do we teach a generation of wealthy kids pride? Okay. If I read this correctly, and if I did not, I stand corrected. But I feel as though the thing is, this is kind of like down my alley because, you know, I deal with life insurance and I deal with, you know, sometimes teaching about generational wealth and you know, how to break generational financial curses or whatever. But to me, if we're talking about teaching a generation of wealthy kids about pride, a lot of times for me, it's like, take that away from them. Because I feel like this, when I say take it away from, what I'm talking about is, you know, sometimes you have to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna break you down to the core, and I want to show you, you know, how, you know, things work. I want to show you that what you have is a blessing. I want to show you that what you have, you know, you were given. Because if you're a kid, you're not working, you know, or whatever. And if you know, you don't have a job or anything, and when I say kid, I'm talking about like somebody 16 and under, pretty much the age where you're not really able to go out and work a decent amount of hours and get a good paycheck. But I think it's like this, strip them of all that. Because I feel like this, a lot of times what happens, at least in our communities, and this is what I see a lot of times and what I do, is that we overcompensate for what we didn't have. We overcompensate to say, I didn't have it, or my mama couldn't afford it for me, or my grandma couldn't afford it for me. So now what do? We go broke trying to sit here and making sure that our children have, you know, items, and children have things of that nature that we didn't have. And I'm just like, excuse my French, fuck all that shit. Because like like, for instance, I use my son as an example. My son likes nice things. You know, I'm not against him having nice things. But one thing I did not do as he was growing up, I did not overcompensate. I was not getting ready to sit out here and go buy Jordans for him. Like I see some people, I'm like, you got Jordans for a 6-month-old kid. Are you serious right about now? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that every so often, but I'm like, you're doing all of this to overcompensate. Now you're turning them into spoiled children that it's not going to appreciate anything because you're just giving them whatever it is that they want. They're not understanding about earning, you know, something. They're not understanding about, you know what, let me go out here and see what I can do to make this happen on my own. But if all you're doing is like, I didn't have, so I'm going to give. So now you got these bunch of wealthy kids who don't appreciate anything. They're not understanding anything. You know, their struggle is, oh my God, I don't know which one do I want to wear. Do I want to wear the brown shoes or do I want to wear the white shoes? Oh, you know, better yet, let me go over here to my mom and let her give me another $100 so I can go out here and give me another pair, you know, just whatever. But I feel like a lot of times how you start to, you know, to teach kids about that or whatever, if they already spoiled and wealthy and everything, sometimes you got to just back up like, whoa, hold on. You got to earn that. And no, you're going to earn it. And no, I'm not getting ready to give you any money. Like, I don't believe in allowances. I ain't getting no allowance growing up. Why am I going to give something to somebody because they doing what they supposed to do? Like, why am I going to reward you for stuff that you're supposed to? That's just how I was raised. So I feel like a lot of times you got to humble them, because if you don't humble them, they're going to grow up and they're going to, if you're raising them to feel like they're wealthy and they this and that, they're a little asshole. They're going to grow up to be a big asshole. And guess what? Don't nobody want to be bothered with no asshole. They're going to go out here, they're going to meet their match, find somebody that's going to tear their ass up or rob them or whatever. And then now they're going to be sitting over there looking crazy. So that's how I say, how you teach a generation of wealthy kids. Take all that shit away from them. They don't need all that. Okay. How I overcompensated my son, I made sure that he had money in his savings account. I've made sure that he has money in his college accounts, things that my mother could not do for me because it was just her by herself. I made sure I did that for my son. But I'll be damned if I was getting ready to sit out here and take his little ass to the mall at 10 years old and go out there and say, we're going to get you all the Jordans and everything else. Now you better take these Skechers and you better go in there. And if you want some Jordans, you better write that little Nike thing on there, whatever, on the side of them Skechers, and you better get the hell on up out my face. But my son is an only child. He's 20. But guess what? He worked now. He in college. He very seldom come to me and his dad asking about money or whatever. And when he do, we know it's because, okay, I done spent my check. I done got this, and this. or whatever. Could I have turned him into this little generational wealthy kid or whatever? Well, I ain't gonna say I wasn't wealthy. This little wealthy kid, yeah, because me and my husband, we always made a decent amount of money. We combined it together. But I knew I did not want to go out here and have my son out here thinking he was better than somebody or feeling like he had one up on somebody. Because I always raised him, you're no better than anybody else, and ain't nobody any better than you. But that's my thing. Strip them all of that shit. Take all that shit out their room. What the hell they need all that stuff in there for? Why tell a kid, go to your room? Great. Why would that's why all that shit is? Take all of it out. Give them some crap. Put them in there. They ain't got no backboard to it or whatever, just a mattress. And then after that, be like, now, I want you to go in there and get your life, like Tamar Braxton said. Just my 2 cents. Maybe I went over. That's just me. I'm going to shut up and let one of y'all or both of y'all go ahead and talk.
Yeah. So this actual question is a little bit complex for me because, of course, I don't have kids, but I can always relate no matter what because I've helped raise kids. So I get it. So it's all about, to me, the answer is in the question. You said, how do we teach a generation of wealthy kids? Just that. Teach them. Don't allow those kids to assume. Don't allow those kids to learn from somebody else. You grab those kids by the reins, so to speak, and you groom them into what is to come. You groom them into what you desire in your children. You make that mold of those children. And that's how you teach that generation about the struggle. If they have to learn it from somebody else, it's not going to mean as much. And that's just my piece. My piece was pretty simple. I ain't going to go too far into it, but y'all can feel that part.
I think we get so wrapped in the word wealth and we tie it to monetary things. We tie it to how much money you have or how much riches you have. It's been a long time coming where we need to start teaching these kids that you don't need to be one of these rappers out here where you can have all the gold chains and the fancy cars and the nice houses that you actually rent for these videos to understand what wealth is. Wealth is being able to say that the bills is paid and you still have money to go out there and enjoy yourself. You still have money to take your family on vacation. You don't have to worry about going out there and begging nobody for help. You don't have to worry about being on some type of public assistance or government assistance or anything like that. Wealth comes from the love that you have, the food that you have in your body, the clothes that you have on your back, and the ability to be able to sustain that on your own. Not from any type of public assistance or government assistance or anything like that. Man, that generational curse is what brings up this topic. It says that we are so wrapped in believing that the only way to break a curse or a generational curse is to have all the riches of the world, when the riches of the world in the beginning was nothing. There wasn't money. There wasn't no monetary value. There was no big houses and buildings. It was nothing. It was togetherness. It was 2 people or 3 people or 10 being able to come together and say, you know what? This is my family. They love me. They take care of me. I'm not abused. I'm not being talked down to. I'm not running around chasing dogs and rats to be able to eat. I'm not digging out the trash or anything like that. The only generational curse we need to break is the mental and the emotional curses that we go through. That's what we need to break. We need to break these kids from being able to walk around saying, "Oh, well, I can go out there and fight anybody I want to because they say something about me," or I have to go out there, or these women going out there. The only way I can get money or be able to be successful and do anything is to sell my body, have sex with this man, get me a sugar daddy, or for these men to walk around saying I got to have me a sugar mama. I got to go out there and shake my behind for these videos to make this money, or I got to go strip. That's generational curses. That's the curses we need to break. Truthfully, like a lot of these kids are walking around thinking The only way things are going to happen for me is if I go out there and do what I see on TV. There's so much more than TV. There's so much more than what you see on social media. That's the generational curses we need to break. We need to break these kids from thinking that, oh, I saw my mom do this, so I have to do it. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't. We don't have to do that no more. And we need to tell these kids they don't have to do that anymore. They don't have to do that when they get older. I've been working since I was 9 years old. I'm tired. And I'm showing my son now, when I take him to different shows and wrestling and everything else, that daddy is working hard for this, but you don't have to do it as hard as I do. When you start early, you finish early. That's my take on it. Let's break these mental curses. Let's break the emotional curses. That's just me.
I said, well, thank you. I guess I'm gonna ask, just one more I guess question or whatever, and then after that we can kind of just I guess close it on out. And I'm gonna ask it because I know I'm a female and all of this, but I'm asking about the pride thing as far as men and relationships and having pride. And I'm saying that because me and my husband, like we've been together pretty much all our lives. Like we got together, we were 18, we're 46, been together, years. But the thing is that what I used to, realize about him and with him was that he had a lot of pride. And the thing is that when it came down to us being in this relationship, I would sit there and watch this man be hungry, need something or whatever. And I'm like, babe, what is it? What can I help you with? Oh, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. But he never would just come and say, babe, I'm a little short with money. I'm this, that, because I'm that kind of person. I'm that kind of female where if I got it, you got it. If we rocking together, we rocking together. It ain't no, I'm gonna hold over your head what I did or anything like that. It's like, nah, if I'm sitting here eating steak, you ain't gonna eat bologna. That's just how we have always been. Like, I don't believe in all of that. But I watched him a lot of times, not say anything. And I knew it, but a lot of times I was not going to, try to bruise his ego or try to, I guess, try to take his, manhood or his pride that he had. But I guess I just asked that, like, how do you all deal with that sometimes in a relationship or if you're pursuing a relationship? Do you feel as though your pride won't allow you? Like, I mean, I guess for me, because it's like, as I've heard women say, the man got to have this, the man got to have this, da, 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 da. And I'll tell a female in a heartbeat, look here, baby, if you out here looking for all that, you just need to say you're looking for help. You're not looking for love or anything like that. Or you want him to have all of this, but you ain't got shit, but you're asking him for things you can't even provide for yourself. But whenever he is in a, in a vulnerable moment, or he's having, issues or problems, or whether it's finances, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental. And then it's like, I think sometimes, a lot of times men don't say anything, or they don't want, to bring that out because it's their pride. And I just sometimes ask, like I said, do y'all experience that? Do you ever feel that? Do you say, or if you're around somebody, like, man, fuck this, chick, I ain't getting ready to deal with all this? Or, I mean, how do you go about doing it, if I'm making sense? Like, do you feel as though sometimes your pride is on the line when dealing with a woman?
Well, for me, the interesting thing about that is it's not necessarily that our pride takes over that moment. I can't speak for all men, but most of us were taught to be a man a certain way. Okay. And if we're taught to be a man a certain way, you pick up things along the way of what other men do. Might not be a man that's close to you, but you pick that up. So in youth, I didn't see a lot of men asking women for anything. Okay. So as an adult, I kind of adopted that concept. I don't ask a woman for anything. I think where it makes them a problem when it comes to a woman and a man in that situation is once the relationship's over. Most of us, if we've been through a relationship and have been hurt or gone through a bad breakup, it's going to come out. It's going to come out that you gave me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You gave me a tank of gas. You had to sign for that Honda Civic. You see what I'm saying? And at that point is when that man learns, I ain't never gonna take shit from a woman again. You see what I'm saying? And it's just one of those things that I think that we men have gotten to the point that we have decided that we're not going to utilize what a woman can give us because we can do it ourselves. And to me, that's the right thing to do. I don't need a woman to do nothing for me I can't do for myself. If I can't get it, then I can understand my wife saying, baby, let me take care of that for you. You know, I'm going to pay the rent this year. I mean, or excuse me, let me take that back. This month, I'm going to let my wife take and that's fine. But when it comes down to the things that, a woman can potentially do opposed to what a man can actually do, it gets a little bit complex once the relationship breaks. And once that man goes through that, that's when it becomes a problem.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. It's not always the pride. A lot of times it comes from the experience. A lot of men are walking around with the mentality thinking, I have to do it, either because they saw their father do it or their mother do it. And a lot of times it's mostly seeing the mothers do it. We have, and it comes from the experience of different women we've been with, where women say, oh, the man is supposed to do it, or I'm not giving you this, I'm not doing that. However, I still want you to give me money for my nails. I want you to give me money for this new purse. Even though I got 10, 15, 300 purses sitting in that closet that I don't even touch, I still need this new one because it's the new trend, babe. It's what's going to make me look good. It's going to make me stand out. I understand that you got to go out there and you work 3 jobs and you don't have time for me. However, that'll compensate when you buy me this new item. For me, it is an experience of I did it on my own. Not so much as I didn't have the help, but I learned different things on my own because my mentality is if I get hurt today and I have nobody here with me, how do I sustain life tomorrow? I broke my hand wrestling. Before that, I learned how to tie my shoe with one hand. Because my mentality says, if I don't have this left arm, or if I don't have this right arm, and I am by myself, how do I sustain life? How do I still continue to do everything I need to do to take care of myself, to take care of my son or my daughters, or to take care of this lady that I'm interested in, if she is still there? It is the experience that we go through that makes us become who we are, to say whether or not it's going to be perceived as pride or is it perceived as it's what I have to do. I commend you in being that person for your husband and recognizing when he needs that help and giving it to him, because there's so many women who will see that and sit back and say, it ain't my problem. He better figure it out. It is that experience that men go through that they say, you know what? Forget it. I'll do it myself. And that's that generational curse that we have to break, because both in women and men, because it works both ways. There are men who feel like they don't need to do nothing if their woman is doing something, and there are women who feel like they don't need to do nothing because the man has to do it. We have to break those curses. We have to start talking about these different things, because this is 2023. I'm going to be real with y'all. This isn't 2022 anymore. It's already August. Once you hit July, the way I see the calendar, when you hit January, we're going uphill. If you ever notice, it takes a long time to get to the summer. Once you hit July, you're going downhill. And that thing rolls so fast. You got August, school is back. Then you got October. Here goes Halloween. Then you got November. There's Thanksgiving. Then you got December. There's Christmas. And then you're going right back into a new year. And then you sit back and wondering, where did the time go? Where did the time go? And how did I get here so fast? And what did I do in this year that I can sit back and look back and say, I did that, or I have something to account for. I have something to show that I did something in this year, in this time, for my family, for myself, or for my children. We got to break those curses, because if not, this time is only going to go faster and faster. And this next generation that's coming up behind us are going to get either more dependent on each other, dependent on us, or they're going to become bitter and just don't give a damn. And that's going to cause our end.
I said, wow. I said, well, that is what's up. So that's why I said I think tonight was a great topic. Great perspectives from everybody. And just morally speaking, when it comes down to pride, it could be the good, it could be the bad, but overall, it's just something out there that we have. And I think it's just, something that is either going to work for us or sometime it may work against us. But with that being said, thank you all so much for, tuning in with us. Thank you so much, Charmaine. Thank you so much, Mr. Everything, for coming in and making it do what it do. And until next time, we will see you all later. 2 fingers to the sideline.
StonePocket.com.